Hi, Roy here. Roy Reads Anything, a channel about eclectic reading, which today will focus on a Marvel Treasury special, giant superhero holiday grab bag. So it's a Christmas comic from 1974. Maybe you missed this, maybe you didn't have 50p, maybe you weren't born. Whatever your excuse, I'm going to give you a tour of the giant superhero holiday grab bag. So, this Marvel Treasury special, sometimes I think they were called Marvel Treasury editions. This was a large format of comic book that came in around this time. This might have actually been the first one. Just to give an idea of how giant it is, obviously you don't actually know precisely how big I am, so you know it could be tiny, but here's a regular comic book, regular size, as you can see, considerably smaller. And over here in Britain, we were used to these weekly reprint comics, which were larger of area, but when it comes to thickness, in here, in a Treasury edition, you've got 98 pages, so it's a substantial kind of thing with a cardboard cover, although it's got what I think of as proper comic book pages, none of your newfangled glossy pages. It's more like newsprint, so it's got the proper smell. It's a delight for all the senses. So basically, as you can see, it's a Christmas kind of annual sort of comic book. Note the holly with the gang of superheroes bursting through the holly, running towards us, and on the back you see the reverse of the same image with a nice bow as well. So it's a very festive package, and I can remember being really excited about this at the time. Even though, what is a grab bag exactly? It's one of those new phrases that Marvel was telling us in here in Britain. So yeah, it's a deluxe edition of Marvel's Mightiest Heroes, and inside you get an inside front cover with a nice black and white drawing. You've got the Hulk holding on his back a gigantic snowball with the characters featured in the comic perching atop that snowball. So it's a nice device. It would just be a little bit better if somehow this scene actually appeared in a story. If by some strange plot device, this state of affairs came to pass in the official Marvel Universe continuity. But anyway, that's kind of cool. And in the back, you get the Thing. The Thing dressed as Santa Claus, uh, walking away from us, throwing us a peace sign, which would have been probably less layered in irony than such a symbol would be today. Just a straightforward peace and goodwill, slightly countercultural gesture from the Thing, and a bit of an advert for comics in general. No proper adverts though, so this is a comic book without adverts, which is another thing apart from its giant size. Comics did have ads, and as I remember, if you handed somebody a comic book to look at, one of your friends, it would be a clear indication of something. Whether they would look at the cover, the story, seeing maybe who's done the artwork, what's happening, what are the characters doing, or there would be people who would ignore all of that and focus on the adverts, because at the time you still got these crazy adverts for things like X-ray specs and all sorts of weird things, sea monkeys, stuff that not only were they kind of ridiculous, you also didn't get them in the UK. So there's people who would be interested in the story, people who'd be interested in the adverts, and I think that it's a that's how I would divide humanity into groups, because people interested in the story, they're like the romantics. They're genuinely interested. They still think there's a chance that the story is going to give them some kind of enchantment from the world of myth. Whereas the people who want to ignore all that and just laugh at the adverts, for them, the stories have all finished. Myth is dead, and all that's left to do is laugh at the sea monkeys. So, how did we get there? Not sure, because this is about giant superhero holiday grab bag. So, what do you get story-wise? Starts off with a great Christmas set story with Spider-Man and the Human Torch. So that's the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four, reprinted from a Marvel team-up comic. Several nice things about it. It's set at Christmas time. It has classic kind of team-up action where the characters start by bickering, have a bit of a fight, I think, and then they unite against a common foe. There's also a classic Christmas superhero story thing of nabbing some Christmas muggers, and then they're forgiven in the name of the season, which is interesting. Yeah, snow is falling. You got sort of the Sandman, great villain, and to end it all, the Human Torch writes peace and goodwill. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. Writes that in the sky with flames from his body. So, altogether a great Christmas story. And we move into a story where Daredevil fights the Submariner. Good story. Wally Wood is the artist. Nothing Christmassy about it. I'd say it's one thing is that it's from the fun days when Daredevil's Billy Club, another strange phrase we learned from comics, his stick has various gadgets inside it, including gas pellets, so he's able to generate a smoke screen. So, when comics were fun. Then you get a Black Widow story. The Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. And it's Christmas again, it's Christmas Eve. At this moment in time, the Black Widow is in the sort of international super spy genre. Think sort of Modesty Blaze, those kind of characters. So she's glamorous, she's wealthy, she seems to be living in a New York apartment or hotel. She's got a servant called Ivan that drives a Rolls Royce. Oh, there she's having a shower. So, yes, we'll gloss over that, this being a family channel. Bit like Emma Peel in the TV Avengers, she wears a catsuit, and it's all very lovely, and rather a sad story. There's some great dialogue. Let's see. A character refers to the Black Widow as that jet set chick who called the Young Warriors scene a while back. Okay, so good stuff. And then finally, we get a great long story, Hulk versus the Thing. It's the battle we've all been waiting for. A reprinted Fantastic Four story where that happens and the Avengers are in it as well. Not those Avengers now, the comic book Avengers. It's drawn by Jack Kirby, though I think if I was doing one of my Jack Kirby is the greatest artist ever routines, I probably wouldn't pick this artwork as evidence for that. But it's good. It's a big spectacle, and in a way, this isn't about the stories. It's about having this package with the the Christmassy feel, and it's just big and generous and fun. So, giant superhero holiday grab bag. They did at least one more of these, maybe two. My other one is currently in a frame on the wall, acting as a sort of Christmas decoration. So I'm not going to disturb all of that now. We maybe look at that in another year. So that's one thing I've read. I also read, where's it gone? The Wizard of Oz, a reread for me. Similar time, 1975, the Wizard of Oz movie was first shown on television in this country, so that was very special. And late 70s, Del Rey brought out a lovely series of the Oz books by L. Frank Baum. I noticed there are 13 of them, so I thought if I read one now, I could read like one a month next year as a little project, have Oz Book of the Month and see how the saga unfolds. I've never read them all. Um, yeah, I love these particular paperbacks with the cover paintings by Michael Herring. Michael Herring, who also does a lot of covers for Mac Bolan Executioner books and the Darklands post-apocalyptic series. So an artist of range. And interesting reading it again. If you've never read it, loads of stuff happens that isn't in the movie. Some stuff's a bit different. The nature of the city of Oz, for instance. And yes, it's good. It feels like a little bit more than a straightforward kid's story. He says this is in 1900. Baum is saying he's trying to write a modernised fairy tale in which the wonderment and joy are retained and the heartaches and nightmares are left out. And yet, when ensorcelled animals are sent to attack the companions, there are battles and animals are slain. So bear in mind there's a slight hint of darkness in there. Segue, another Treasury edition format comic came out in the also mid-70s, and I love this. It's kind of an adaptation of an adaptation. So this is the movie rendered into comic book form. It took Marvel and DC had to team up to create the story. You got John Buscema artwork. Obviously, knowing part of the publicity for these oversized comics was that this was more like the size they were drawn at, so it's like you were getting the artwork as it was originally created. So I guess when the artist knew they were working to this huge size, they could put out all the stops for things like this lovely splash page. Yep, a Wizard of Oz comic. There was another one of these as well, which I will get to another time. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Great to see people here. I will maybe slip in a video or two before the new year, but other than that, I will just say have a great holiday. If you like this kind of thing, enjoy. Maybe you're not enjoying it. It'll be finished soon. I'll see you on the other side, and we will reconvene in due course. Okay, bye.